All right. Okay. Looks like we're live. There's always a delay on YouTube. Okay. Now it looks like we're live. Cool. All right. Well, welcome to episode 7, I believe, of the Full Grown Pizza Podcast. This episode, we are going to be talking about the craziest block party in all of human history is the Dancing Plague of 1518. So,
I thought it was that party in Australia.
I don't know. This one, I don't know much about that one, but
That's a house party, not a block party.
yeah, see, that's why. Now, this one's like the whole town, they got together and they just like, they had the dancing fever on this one. It lasted a month, just kept going. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the Dancing Plague of 1518 in this episode. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. So when I was doing research about it, I was like, what the heck is this? Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's hilarious. I love it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, check the notification bell because we don't always go live at the exact correct time. So that'll help out with that. Okay, getting into it. So the Dancing Plague of 1518. Have you guys ever heard of that before?
I've heard of it before.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially, like, what it is, there was in July of 1518, there was in Strasbourg, France. I'm probably going to butcher a lot of the names and places and stuff because, well, I'm not French. So, it started with a woman named Frau Trophia. Um, she just started getting down in the middle of town, man. She was just on something, and it spread. People got into it. Within the first week of her starting this, there was up to 34 dancers in the town, according to local documents, that were just dancing. And this wasn't some normal dance. This was like uncontrollable. They could not stop dancing.
Yeah,
Like they
like
were
down until
just
their feet bled and they fell over. And
yeah. Yes, exactly. This lasted until September, and they got up to 400 dancers, reports say. So up to 400 people. I don't know how big the town was itself back in that time period, but I can't imagine it was that big.
About 400 plus.
Yeah, it was probably about most of the town.
but the strange thing was that it spread to other towns, which is kind of strange too. So
Well, yeah, there were
really just
reports.
Strasbourg.
There were reports of other places during this time period that had kind of the similar things going on as well.
They're just trying to catch on the
I'll stop
trend. It's like,
interrupting your intro thing.
it's
Oh
like
no, you're
TikTok
fine.
videos. This
Yeah,
is TikTok
this
dance
was
trend, but back in the
back in the
1500s.
right. You're right. Back in the day, they were trying to be relevant in the in the letters and stuff, the newspapers. They wanted to get their name out there, and
Yeah.
this lady came up with a dance, and it just blew up. That's pretty much the
Mm.
story. Yeah, it was like the boogie and the freaking
So it was like a town event
grapevine
that they
or whatever.
planned.
No, no, I'm joking. So this was not a planned event or anything like that. And that's actually kind of what leads into kind of the ridiculousness and craziness of this. But yeah, so it got up to 400 dancers
The
about in
first
total. And
incident of the flash mob.
yeah, exactly. This was the historical first flash mob. Um, no, and so this lasted until September. It was nonstop. These dancers went day in and day out, only stopping because they collapsed due to exhaustion or because there was some um, other medical concern or something. People had to separate them in the city. So there was approximately 100 people died of causes related to this dancing. So about a quarter of
Wow.
them died. Yeah, whether it's exhaustion, heart attacks, strokes, etc. About 100 people died. And at its peak, approximately 15 in a single day died. So
How
pretty
do you die by
crazy,
Excedrin?
etc.
What's
Um,
Excedrin? Sounds scary.
that's a pill that you take for.
Oh, I thought that was Excedrin. Not
Oh,
sponsored.
Dance
yeah.
fever.
Yeah, helps with dance fever.
Uh-huh. Okay.
No, so there is actual good historical evidence to support this as a real thing that happened in history. There are local records, there's city council, like archives and notes and records about this. There's physician notes about it. Some of the notable records are from a physician named Paracelsus, and an architect named Daniel Specklin. So some of the city council notes, they initially believed that the cause of this dance fever was quote unquote overheated blood. And so they initially thought that, okay, maybe we need to encourage more dancing because it's going to get this like overheated blood out of their system. You know, they're gonna dance it out. And so they initially encouraged the dancing, and but when that became apparent, like, hey, this is not working, they did some other things. So some of the public health responses were to promote dancing, but in controlled environments. So when these people did pass out or whatever, they could get the medical attention that they needed. They could separate them from the rest of the dancers. So they had like specific, like, okay, these are controlled areas where you can do your dancing, and we can. Some reports even said that they brought in like professional dancers and stuff to like help monitor this whole situation. And so, kind of crazy, but yeah, they purposefully separated them so they could exhaust them to the point where, okay, now we can take care of you and separate you from all the crazy people.
Break dancers over here.
Yeah.
Tangoist over here.
Exactly. Yeah. They also attempted to ban music and dancing altogether. So it reached a point where the town was like, okay, we need to just straight up ban music and dancing. You cannot do this. Like,
This was the inspiration for Footloose.
yeah, exactly. Yep. And yeah, so they attempted to ban music and dancing. Like you mentioned, yeah, there has been other instances of this, and they actually called this phenomenon Saint Vitus's dance, which I'll get into later. So there's actually other instances of this, and it's not the only thing that they referred to as Saint Vitus's dance. So we'll talk a bit more about who Saint Vitus is and what kind of led into that, because I thought it was pretty interesting stuff too. First question: if you had to dance for a whole month, what song or album would you be dancing to? What would give you the dance fever? What would give you the dance plague? If you're in the 1500s and you listen to something and you're like, God damn, and you just start dancing, what would that song be? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
The Full Grown Pizza song. Dude, honestly, this is a good dance music right here, though.
Sounds disco-ish almost.
Oh yeah, very funky, very disco-y. I love it.
Yeah, it'd probably be something like a disco-y song.
Yeah, I remember back in that day, they probably want to do like 3 or 4 songs, though.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, did you have? Because obviously you didn't have any recording or anything.
Oh,
like,
I know what I want.
Were
It'd
there
be,
songs that they just knew and remembered and like that they heard
It
one
was like
time?
work
And,
songs and stuff they had, you know, like when they were
yeah,
working
songs
on
to
the
get
fields
them
and
through the
stuff.
day. Like
Yeah, no,
they'd make up their own songs. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so anyways,
Or maybe like hymns from the church or something like that. Maybe.
could you imagine just jamming out to a hymn for like a month? Could you? Oh my god.
Jesus loves me, this I know, 'cause the Bible tells me so.
Exactly. Dude, that's a banger. Put some music with that, like, dang, dude. My thing is though, like, if you were a musician in that town at the time and you didn't have the dance fever, you probably made a lot of money, I would think. If you're just jamming
That's,
out all day, all night, you got a consistent gig. I mean, they're gonna be
Church
paying
is
you
paying
money.
you, I guess.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're bringing in people, and these people won't stop
I mean,
dancing. So
some of them died, but that's all right.
yeah, some people died, but well, we don't have lawsuits or anything
Yeah, I get paid
nowadays.
either way.
No one's gonna sue us. Like,
What
what
if you did? If you were a musician, musician,
Would it be?
but you
Or a
didn't know
magician.
it was like it was the dance fever. So you're just like, man, these people are into my song.
Yeah, I know. Could
Mm.
you imagine if you're like a up and coming, you're like a new like artist or whatever,
I
and
am
you're
the best lute player ever.
it's like open mic night and it's your first performance ever, and you're just like, oh my god, these people love me. This is
This will top
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
These people haven't stopped dancing for 5 hours. What am I doing? They go home, people.
He's like, "Look, I don't have enough material for this shit. Like, what? Come on, man. I only just started." But anyways, so yeah, so there are some theories as to like what caused this and what happened. Um, namely, the kind of primary theory that most historians and people have studied this believe is that it was some kind of mass hysteria incident. Michael, you disappeared from your screen. Oh, you're back. Okay. Um, so mass hysteria is like extreme stress that exists in a community, and then when one person starts responding to that stress in a certain way, other people start to respond in similar ways, and then it just kind of feeds off of itself. So this is kind of the primary theory. They did have a lot of good reasons to be stressed out in this time period during that day because, well, they had really harsh living conditions. There was famine and disease and hunger, and it was hard to live during the 1500s, especially in this area. So one of the other theories though is, and I could be pronouncing this wrong, but ergot or ergo poisoning, which is essentially, this is a toxic mold.
Egot.
This is a toxic mold that grows on damp rye, which can cause hallucinations and convulsions. So it does have similar symptoms to like LSD. However, there's a lot of symptoms that don't really match up with the whole dancing plague thing. For example, the convulsions that it does, it's like temporary convulsions, right? This isn't a freaking month long, thing that happens to you. It's short term for a lot of these symptoms, and so that was one of the theories as well that could have led up to it. Another theory, and actually, Tori, can you pull up a picture of the ergot? It's a fungus. Yeah, it's like a type of mold. I want to look at that real quick.
Who's this Tory you're talking about, you piece of shit? Okay.
Yeah, so look at that like wormy, gross looking thingy. And yeah, imagine making bread or some stuff with that. Like that would,
Yeah.
and that spreading through your population, especially if people are, food is in short supply. Like you don't have much of a choice but to eat that
Yeah, you
sort
can't
of
throw it
stuff.
out, so.
And it was known to be in that area. I mean, it did happen. So that could potentially have contributed to it. Maybe the hallucinations or something. Um,
The Last of Us could have been a totally different series.
yeah, could you imagine? Just like completely, completely different substance. Oh man. Yeah, so the other theory is that there's some kind of religious or supernatural aspect regarding this, or that led up to this. So one of the theories regarding that is that there may have been a curse put on the population by Saint Vitus, and because some people thought that this guy Saint Vitus, he had the ability to make people dance uncontrollably, and they had some interesting reasons for thinking that. So he was one of the 14 holy helpers, which is essentially various saints that had particular healing abilities, or that they helped people in dealing with their afflictions. So his, in particular, he dealt with a lot of dancers and actors and things like that. That's mostly what he was kind of known for. And he helped with specific diseases, neurological diseases that caused convulsions. And so people thought of these convulsions like that's similar to a dance, right? Your body is kind of shaking uncontrollably. So they considered this a dance. And since he dealt with this neurological condition, he helped people heal from this neurological condition. People kind of made the association that maybe he can also control this sort of thing, and that maybe he can cause it as well. Um, so kind of interesting how like this whole dancing thing, like we don't really think about, how they would have viewed it back then, but they viewed things like epileptic seizures and things like that as dancing. Like that was a form of dance in their mind. They were like, okay, these people are dancing for some reason. Um yeah. And so yeah, he was the patron saint of dancers, actors, and children. Um Yeah, and essentially like what they thought too is that dancing
Really loud.
dancing is like a form of ritual in a lot of ways. So it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. And so they were also a little confused on how to think about this in the beginning, because they were like, okay, is this maybe we need them to dance more, because then this is a form of penance. We can like dance in a way, or like when they were separating people, they actually separated people and put them with like a shrine to Saint Vitus as well. And so they would have people dance there because they thought, okay, this is a form of penance. Maybe we need you to dance to get rid of the curse or the demons or whatever. And maybe that's why Saint Vitus cast this curse on us, because maybe we need to repent for our sins or something. Maybe we messed up. And so a lot of people thought that maybe that's what this was as well. Um, Another thing is that they also thought, okay, this uncontrollable dancing, that, okay, yeah, maybe there is like, they are partaking in some kind of evil ritual, like they're possessed or they're taken over or whatever. And this is an evil ritual that they're partaking in. And so maybe that's why Saint Vitus also cast this curse on people. So or on the town or whatever. So we can get rid of that, which all just led to more dancing and so kind of interesting. But yeah, this is a historical fact that happened in history, and 100 people died because of it. This uncontrollable dancing, like I said earlier, the craziest block party, probably the most deadly block party in existence. But yeah, I just thought it was so wild. I was like, what in the heck? Are you kidding me, guy? So yeah, crazy. So what do you guys think about this theory? What are your thoughts and like about this mystery?
I think it's strange, but and it says here on the Wikipedia page I'm looking at it, it said it happened many times starting in the 7th century.
Yeah, I mean
That
this was probably one of the most well-known ones, but yeah, like
yeah, yeah,
this
the
wasn't
only
the
one.
only
Yeah,
instance of it. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
to
so
me that would
any
point
of
more to like maybe ergot poisoning because that's something that happens fairly often. And if you're starving, you're not going to throw out wheat that you can eat. So
Yeah. I
and
think
plus
my
they didn't know that much about it. So
right. I think my only thing with that, the ergot poisoning, is that it just wouldn't last a month, and it wouldn't
it
last.
was some kind of
People wouldn't.
mutation that that only comes around like every 50 years or something.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine it being like a mix of both, right? I mean, like if people are
Maybe
under
the ergot got them
severe,
started and then they kept going. And then,
yeah, maybe that lady, what was her name? Frau Trafia. Maybe she got ergot poisoning, and that kicked off this whole thing, and then that kicked off mass hysteria, and then other people were
Mhm.
eating, and then they got involved with because of the hallucinations, and then that just
yeah, but
led.
you'd think that people in the same area would be eating the same wheat. So if they had like usually ergots come from like a late frost that hits the wheat so it grows that.
Yeah,
So if all in the same area got hit with that late frost, then all the wheat around there probably has some kind of ergot poisoning. So
right. Yeah. Yep.
and I mean
Well,
that
and
seems
then
like the
like,
best theory to me, the ergot poisoning.
yeah, I mean, I think for the ergot poisoning to actually be valid, you almost have to tie it in with the mass hysteria, because
Yeah.
because you're not going to have a mass uniform hallucinogenic experience. Like, that doesn't happen. Not everybody
Yeah,
sees
the
and
other time is
thinks and believes
so
the same
like you
things.
say, one person started dancing and the other person's tripping, and they see him dancing, so they start
Right, so
dancing
then they
too, and
start
then it keeps
dancing. It's like
spreading.
a chain effect, yeah, that
Yeah.
one person got it kicked off, and then it kept going and going, and it fed into itself, and then the hysteria and the stress and all that stuff probably prolonged it and made it keep going or something. But
I wonder if some of these
um
people are just like more susceptible to the ergot poison than the others, that way they reacted this way. Because I
yeah.
mean, if they had one piece of bread that was bad, they probably had many pieces of bread. That's why they probably danced to death.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
sure, and like we said, like famine was a real concern back then. I mean, they didn't have a ton of food, and it
yeah,
was,
you're usually
it
starving
was
more than you're fed.
right. You didn't care. I mean, if you were gonna eat something and it was gonna make you sick, like, you're still gonna
Especially if
eat
you
it.
thought it was a religious thing making you sick and you didn't think it was the food, then you keep eating the food. So
Right, right, exactly. Well, and then, like, I mean, I think it was kind of smart. I was actually surprised, like, some of the things that they tried, where they were like, okay, we're going to segment you off into a controlled environment, so when you do
yeah,
pass out, we can actually take care of you. Like, I thought that was pretty smart. I was actually impressed by that, because I would think, like, based on their understanding of what's going on and everything, and what they thought could possibly be causing this or leading up to this, like,
yeah. If you think
that's
somebody's possessed, you don't want to like isolate them.
yeah, yeah. And then, like, even like bringing in like other professional dancers and stuff, and then I did think it was kind of funny how they were like, "Oh, it's overheated blood and you just got to dance it out of your system." like oh, these are hot-blooded people, man.
That just shows
They're
you how
party
much
people.
education they had back then.
Yeah.
They just can't
But
stop
like
partying, so just let them do it. So
right, but like somebody who doesn't have any kind of scientific knowledge or anything like that, like that's not a entirely unreasonable thing to think. Like, if someone is like freaking out, flailing their body and stuff, like, you do that when you're uncomfortable or in heat or whatever, or like when you're dancing, you work up a sweat and all that stuff, and then the sweat
yeah,
makes
I
you think,
mean,
okay, well,
yeah,
maybe their
it's
blood's
hot
hot
blood.
because yeah, it's like you can follow. What I like about these historical things is you can trace their logic, and you're like, okay, I get where you're coming from. I mean, it makes no sense in modern times now that
Yeah, I mean, you
now
know some
based
things.
on what we know, but it's interesting to like dive into their head and be like, I kind of see how you got there. Yeah,
I mean, technically, you get hot blood, you start sweating, so it makes sense.
exactly. Yeah, hot blood, you start sweating. And you sweat when you're doing physical activity, and you're doing physical activity. They probably
And
think,
it
well,
all
hot
points to
blood.
heat.
They
So.
just they have the chain of the order of operations wrong. They're like,
Plus, another symptom of ergot poisoning is excessive sweating, I believe. So
yeah, so
maybe
I'm
they
I'm
started
sure
sweating
that could lead
before
to it
that.
too. Yeah. Um yeah, so
Ergot.
ergot
I like this
poisoning.
one where they said that in
Ergot.
1278 there's another dancing fever, and there's 200 people dancing on a bridge and it collapsed.
No way, that's crazy.
That's a
Yeah.
dumb place to dance.
Yeah, I wouldn't be especially
Was
200
the
people.
Mothman involved?
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah,
Mothman
yeah,
was
I'm
like
sure he was
flying
there.
by. He's like, maybe you guys
He was
want to
like,
like step off the bridge. Yeah.
That
which
guy's
is like, you
crazy.
guys gotta get off that bridge. I don't think you can support
They're
all
like,
your
oh
weight.
my god, keep dancing. It's a demon dance. Keep dancing. We
An
gotta
You gotta get
get him
away
angel!
away.
here.
Yeah.
Listen to his heavenly voice.
Oh, maybe they did think that. Maybe they. Yeah.
They're probably tripping to probably understand what he's saying, man. So
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, it makes a lot of
They're
sense.
like, wow, that makes
Dance on the
perfect sense.
bridge, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he say
Yes.
dance on the bridge or off the bridge? I think.
Mothman has actually been around for a long time. He's what everyone thinks is angels.
Yeah, I mean, that would
He
be
could be considered
interesting
a
if there
dark
were like
angel.
reports of like angels that had supported the dancing or something, or they thought that it was like a divine like thing that they were supposed to do. I think that would be
Obviously,
interesting.
that's the theory that makes the most sense is gypsy curse.
I
It's
mean,
gypsy
hey,
curse.
it's
Obviously.
yep, obviously, of course.
I mean,
Magic.
the gypsy curses have it all the time. So
Magic covers all the bases. It was magic, people.
That's true. I mean, that's hey, Occam's razor. You don't have,
Yeah.
you know, the the answer
yeah,
that
but
requires
explanation,
less.
it's gotta be magic.
The
So.
thing about the ergot thing is you're saying like it lasts a month and it usually doesn't last that thing. Is like these people are dancing and these people are trying to help them, and they're trying to help them by feeding them because they don't want them to starve. They're probably
Yeah.
feeding them the bread again.
They probably
Or
are.
Yeah,
tainted
that's what I'm
bread.
saying.
Yeah, I
Once
think
they-
it's like a
the bread
vicious
was
cycle.
contaminated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
look
I said, these people are probably susceptible.
What
to
are all
ergot
the-
Like
what
poisoning,
are-
so-
They dance until they fall down and faint, and then they're recovering, and they're like, "Here, take this bread and water." And he's
What?
like, "Oh, thanks. Oh no, I need to dance again."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right. Although I wonder like what are because I didn't look up like what are all the symptoms of ergot poisoning. It's just in the research I did, it said that there was a lot of the symptoms of ergot poisoning don't match up with what was happening. So, like, do a quick Wikipedia search on ergot poisoning. Like, what are the symptoms of this thing?
Isn't that what Mike's doing right now?
No, that's what I want you to do so we can look
Me?
at it on screen. Yeah.
Oh, can I just do Chat GPT?
Yeah, just ask it. Yeah.
Ergot.
Tell me all the symptoms of ergot
What is
poisoning.
EGOT poisoning? Like, what the fuck you talking about?
It's like the one thing that ChatGPT, it's like, I don't know what that is.
Huh?
Yeah, it says you get
Should Trump run for
convulsions,
president?
Wait, don't.
your body parts
Just
go
Wikipedia.
get gangrene.
I was having fun.
I don't know that's part of the reason why their feet started bleeding because they got gangrene.
Salem says
the-
ergot poisoning.
The
Salem.
ergot actually causes vasoconstriction.
Oh, poison control. Thank
Poison
you.
control. Well, thanks.
Poison control.
I'm sure that
Poison
might need
control.
help if I have ergot poisoning.
Ergotism.
Ergotism? I guess that's what it's called, huh?
Long-term
Yeah.
poisoning.
Yeah, look at their feet. Dude.
Ooh, is that from
That's
dancing?
nasty. Yeah, maybe.
This
I
is
mean,
gangrene.
it says the ergot causes the vasoconstriction, so it cuts off like the extremities of blood, so it causes gangrene, which is
So that's what the
Yeah,
problem was. Is that all their
convulsive.
feet were
Well,
asleep, and
that's
they're
the
trying
thing.
to wake them up. Like,
That's
"Wake
part
up,
of the thing.
damn
Though.
it!"
So like, okay, so that makes sense. It causes convulsions, but again, like, there's a difference between what was taking place at the dance fever, the dancing plague, where they're actually dancing, whereas this is convulsiveness, like seizures, like
well,
it
they
causes
consider
seizures.
convulsion dancing, so
Right, they did, but
They show you how
if
good
you're
a
a
dancer
seizure
is.
only lasts a few seconds to a few minutes,
If you get
whereas
some ergot, it's like LSD. It could last a long time, like 12 to 14 hours. So,
the LSD could, but the convulsions wouldn't. So,
well, I mean,
like,
depending on how much ergot they got. So,
well, no, you're not gonna seize for that long, regardless. But yeah, but if it is doing the whole LSD thing and it is making people, you know, what's the word?
Yep.
What's the H word that means they're seeing shit?
Hallucinate?
Hallucinate. Yeah.
hallucinate.
Yeah, I mean, if it's making you
Holograms.
hallucinate, yes, holograms. If it's making you hologram, then yeah,
You
like
can
that-
see you're in
I
the
could see
simulation.
that,
Yes, holograms, as opposed to my regular theory. Oh shit! I already moved it off. Aw, where'd my alien thing
Wait, what's
go?
that dude? He's got detail from painting The Temptation of Saint Anthony, showing a patient with advanced ergotism. Look at his body. He's got like all sorts of like stuff on him.
He doesn't look like he wants to dance though.
No, he's like, well, like one of the symptoms, like when you scroll up, it was like diarrhea and like all this stuff. Like, I don't know, man. Could you imagine like these people dancing forever and for like a month, just like shitting all over the ground, and just like, and that would lead to the extra disease and all that crap going on,
Yeah, it's just a
dude.
vicious cycle,
Man, these guys had it rough. Like they were trying to just dance, have a good time, and then some guy shits all over the floor, and then one guy thinks, well, if he can shit on the floor, I can shit on the floor. and and then yep, it just vicious
And
cycle.
it's
And then
like
one
dancing
guy's like
shit,
walking by
man.
with his bread, and he's like trying to eat, and then some guy shits all over it, and he's like, ah shit, well I'm hungry, might better
I'm not
eat
gonna
it.
throw it away.
You know,
So
I
I'm
paid off.
not gonna throw it away.
I put a full hay penny for this.
wipe
I'm
it
not
off,
doing
yeah.
it.
He's like, this is my
It's
meal
actually
for
not
the
that
week.
bad.
I can't throw it away. Gotta feed my kids. He goes home. It's just something special that the baker, added to it. Don't worry about it.
Just go home and put a bunch of spice on it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, here we'll just put salt
Hot
on it or
sauce.
butter.
He just salted the shit out of it.
Yeah, just like dump the whole thing.
I guess he would literally salt the shit out of it.
He would salt
Get outta
the
here,
shit
stupid
out of
shit.
it. Yeah. He's like,
Hope that
look,
can't take the shit
if it's so
anymore.
salty, maybe I just won't taste it. Yeah, dude.
It's
Okay.
like, it's not that bad. But for some reason, I feel like dancing.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's see. I wanted to read more about it affects the more poorly vascularized distal structures such as fingers and toes. Symptoms include desquamation or peeling, lots of peripherals, ultimately the death and loss of affected tissues. So it sounds like it eats up your skin and stuff. And like, dude,
Maybe this was like a rare genetic mutation of the ergot.
that's
And
possible
actually
too.
said,
Like,
That's what I was saying, it's just a
bit of
different-
mind control. Because how weird is it that they
maybe
go
it's
out
just a
into the middle of the
special ergot that
street and
comes
start
around once in a while,
dancing?
right. And for everyone to have the same response. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing too.
And then
Like-
you think about the other fungi that do mind control and like insects that like make like ants go to the tallest tree and
Yeah.
they sit there until they can get eaten by birds.
Yeah.
Or like I guess the hairworm's not like a fungus, but fucking it's
Well,
weird.
yeah, some kind of like parasite or
cordyceps.
something maybe that was like trying to.
Have you guys seen those zombie spiders that are?
That's
taken
kind of what
over
I'm
by
thinking.
fungus,
The
so they
fungus
Yeah.
climb the walls
spiders?
and- so they get
Well,
eaten
'cause
by
these-
birds or
yeah,
whatever.
there's
that's
all
a
these-
nasty looking-
The fungus spiders
How
and
do you
like
see these
parasites and
zombie
stuff.
spiders?
Like, have you seen those like worm thingies that like go into bugs and then they like make them like
The hairworms, the hair.
yeah, those things are
horsehair.
crazy, and then
Praying
they
mantis is making blood like in
Things are
water.
nasty looking.
right. But like the whole thing about getting it like killing the thing or mind controlling it is so they can bring it to another host and then they can keep going.
Yeah, like the
Not that
the
picture.
ants will actually inspect all the workers for cordyceps, and if they find one, they'll
Dude,
grab
that
them like
thing
it's
is
a bomb and pull them away from
nasty
the nest
looking.
and let it blow up on them. So
Holy,
basically, wow, look at that.
that thing is disgusting looking.
That is nasty.
Is that
Yeah,
so? That's a
but to
spider
bird,
with the
it's probably
fungus.
I
Yeah.
believe that's a grasshopper that has.
Oh
it.
yeah, you're
That's like a
right. That looks
locust,
like a
yeah,
grasshopper or
fungus
some
like
kind of something. But look at how it's just like extending from like all parts of it. That's crazy.
And
Oh
that's
my
like
god.
that, so a bird will eat it. I guess a bird will find
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
look how tasty that
Controls-
looks.
Well, then it
It'll
spreads to
control
the
the
bird,
insect
and
and
then
put
the
'em in
bird
a-
will poop it somewhere, and then it'll
Yeah,
spread
that's how
more,
it
and then it's
spreads.
like, yeah, like it's
and they have
smart.
the weirdest cycles, but it's like
Yeah,
crazy.
Like those are, I think they do it with frogs too. It'll grow with frogs and like they'll grow
Yeah.
down any legs so they can't swim very good. So birds will
Yeah,
eat the
yeah.
frogs.
and
then
maybe
that's the life cycle.
well, maybe that
And
is
it actually evolved that life cycle over many generations, which is crazy.
maybe that's the thought process behind. Let's say there was a parasite that did kind of mutate or infect the rye as well, that had kind of this mind control component, and then the reason it made them dance is because it was trying to exhaust them so their body couldn't fight off the parasite. You
Until
know, like
somebody
if,
was
if
to
you
eat 'em.
kill off the person, then and you just eat them, you can whatever, you have nutrients forever. Like you
Try to
don't
get
have
yourself
to
spread, so.
right. And if the body's alive or if the host is alive, the immune system can fight against it and all that stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
it's
Didn't
protecting
they,
itself.
burn the bodies of the ones that died from it? Might have been a good move.
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder if they did. And if I don't know what they did with the bodies. I assume they buried
It's
them
your
or
fucking
whatever.
story.
Hey man, look, I'm not an expert on medieval French whatever history. So.
Why aren't you? Why are you doing the story then?
Well, I should have hired a guy, but
Where's
don't
your
have the budget for
transatlantic
this shit.
accent you're supposed to be talking?
We're not Joe Rogan. We don't have the budget to bring in a freaking French historian and then have him talk about it. So you got me, all right?
Okay.
That'd be cool to interview a French historian and see what they think about
It would be kind of cool to be like, what do you think about this theory? And what about this? Like, just have the most out of left field, like theories and ask them about it. Like, it would be funny. You'd have to find a particular one because I think I wouldn't want some guy who's so serious that he's just not going to entertain any of our theories, Like, I mean, I'm okay with him shooting down everything, but in a fun way, right?
It's like, what about ancient aliens? Like,
yeah, what about aliens? You know what would be
we are
fun
done here.
if we asked a professional or an ancient historian, like, okay, if it were ancient aliens, how would they do it? How would you explain it? Or like, what evidence
there
would
actually
you
is
want to
There
see?
actually
is eyewitness reports of
ChatGPT.
aliens during the Black Death. Where they said they danced kind of like death. That's where the historical picture of death comes from.
What the fuck is this?
So they have like poles that they have smoke come out that looks like a scythe almost.
Yeah,
And that's where they got the Black Death instead of aliens wandering around like treating people
meddling with their
black smoke. Yeah,
yeah, huh?
sounds like an extermination process because I guess the population
Don't
was
get
pretty big back then.
Yeah.
That's just stories. So who knows how?
Well, I
true
mean,
they
yeah,
are.
who knows, right? Like, that's the
Well, it's
interesting thing
interesting.
about history is like, you can't 100% know that you have it right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, you can have really strong evidence and you can like, say for, with strong confidence and high likelihood that this is what happened, but there's probably some documents or something that got lost somewhere along the way that adds an extra detail here and there that makes more sense about it. But yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty wild. You guys didn't answer my question though. What song or album would you be listening to if you had to dance for a month?
I figured it out. It's "I Don't Feel Like Dancing" by Sister Scissors.
Dance Till We're Dead.
Okay. Nice.
It's a dance song called "I Don't Feel Like Dancing."
What's that one song called? I think it's Dance Till We're Dead or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Pretty
I know
catchy
what you're
song.
talking about. Yeah. Oh, dude. I don't know, man.
If
Like,
ancient aliens
what are you asking?
caused the dancing plague.
That was the Black Death. Ancient aliens are supposed to cause
If
Black
ancient
Death.
aliens
How
caused the dancing plague,
Would they have done it?
let's see.
The dancing plague remains one of history's most bizarre and enigmatic events. Contributing to the ancient aliens is fascinating speculation. It's important to remember that history's events are typically explained by factors rooted in human society and psychology. However, if we were to entertain this idea, a speculative standpoint, here's one possible scenario. Aliens possessing advanced technology and understanding of human behavior could have influenced the minds of certain individuals of the community. They might have employed some form of mind control or manipulation, perhaps through subtle electromagnetic waves or altering neurotransmitters functioning in the brain. By targeting specific individuals or broadcasting signals over the affected area, they could have induced a trance-like state characterized by compulsive dancing. This would trigger a cascading effect as more and more people witnessed the spectacle and joined in, either out of curiosity or because of pervasive influence.
What if, like,
Alternatively,
Figured it out.
oh
they
yeah,
might have used advanced holographic projections. I told you, holograms! I told
we
you!
were right. We were right.
Or illusions to create the appearance of supernatural entities compelling them to dance. It was Mothman! Mothman was
Yeah.
telling them to dance! It's like,
It was really just an alien, like, with a projector just shooting it up into the sky, like
It was just an alien with a
He's just
Q-tip
like
and a light.
blasting it up in the air
Made
like
Mothman in the sky.
There's Mothman flying him around. It's
This would have sparked the fear
"Dance."
and
Dude, okay, could you imagine like
superstition
someone
leading to
with like a laser
superstition
pointer like
exorcism.
writing dance in the sky? Just like they're like, "Oh my god, we got to dance. We got to do it." And then the
God
aliens
says to dance, dance.
I just picture like an alien like sitting up on a cliff or whatever, just like laser pointer, just like writing dance in the sky, and then like watching these
It's like
people
us
with
with the fucking
binoculars.
lasers with cats. Just like
Yeah, exactly. He's just playing with like
he
playing
was
with
so
cats.
entertained. He stayed there a whole month.
He stayed there the whole. Well, he could have been like, "Dude, Jerry, you got to come check this shit out. These guys are fucking
Come
crazy."
check out how the stupid monkeys are.
and his UFO friend guy, he flies down and he's like, "Oh my god, let me try this." And then he goes, and then they just keep going. Dude, they probably set up a booth and they're like, "Come spend
Come
like
watch the monkeys dance.
spend
It's like
$5 and come get your
There it is,
viewing
the
of the crazy
transatlantic.
town dancing." Yeah. Oh my
Come
God.
and see the monkeys dance.
Yeah. Dude, for real. That's
Dance monkey,
would-
dance monkey. Oh, oh, oh.
I like that theory better. I gotta say that
yes,
I don't
yes.
care about
Yeah,
the evidence. I like that.
It was
one more.
aliens, guys. It was aliens.
Always aliens.
Good job, ChatGPT. You're
Yeah, yeah.
you're the real
I
historian.
was wrong.
here.
It wasn't magic. It was aliens with
Yes.
magic.
Could not have been. Yes, right.
Magic
Aliens with magic.
technologies. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep. All of that. That's great. Oh man. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I think that was I thought that was a funny kind of thing when I came across it. I was like, dude, this is wild. And for people like you would think maybe once someone started dying that you'd be like,
I don't want
okay,
that.
maybe I'm not gonna maybe I should take a break. Or
Yeah,
maybe like I'm
I'll
not
sit
gonna
down for a
dance anymore.
while.
Like
I'll sit this
when I was doing research, like it was saying that people were dancing like up to a week pretty much nonstop, and before they just collapsed and just their body could not possibly do it anymore. And so yeah, I mean it's wild because that's one of the things I was thinking is like you gotta stop to eat or drink or something. Like how does that even work? And basically
So
when
it
I was
is-
doing research is they were saying yeah, they ate and drank once they collapsed. Like they basically collapsed and then woke up and they were able to eat and drink again. Like
Then they got fed the tainted bread again.
right, and this wasn't freaking yeah, it wasn't like a conscious thing. This was involuntary because people could not stop. They were in pain while they were doing it and like yeah, that's wild to me. Like I run out of breath like walking up 3 flights of stairs to my freaking place. Can't imagine dancing for a full week.
Yeah.
Like, oh my lord.
Right now, your feet feel after that.
Dude, oh my god. Just going to a concert, like I don't know how often you guys go to concerts, but I go to concerts pretty often and just standing there for like 4 hours or however long it is or even jumping around just for like that long, dude, yeah, your feet hurt. I went to a music festival last year in October, and it was like an all day. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was so cool. I saw all these bands. No, I'm
So
not
cool,
gonna-
guys.
I'm
It's
not
so
gonna-
cool.
No, but it was like an all day thing, and we're walking around on it's mostly asphalt. There's some fake grass and stuff that they put down there, but mostly asphalt, and it's in Vegas, so it's like hot, and you're walking around for like 12 hours, and dude, my feet hurt so bad. Like I can't imagine they had the most comfortable shoes back then either, if they even had them, like their shoes are probably super uncomfortable. They probably get blisters and stuff. Like,
I bet their feet were pretty tough though.
oh yeah, that's true. There's probably very calloused feet and whatnot. So maybe their feet weren't too bad, but still,
I'm sure they're used to standing all day, too.
still a week or a month of doing that, like
Yeah.
it'd still get to you eventually. But man, that's wild to think about.
Really.
That would actually be like I could imagine like a doctor or something coming up with those like cushiony soles or whatever. 'Cause he's like, man, like there's people want to keep dancing, but their feet hurt. Like, we got to come up with something here to like solve it. Like, that could be like, I know that's probably not, but it would be funny if that was the historical like origin of of like foot care. You know, they're like, man, we got to take care of these people. We need more comfy shoes. These things
It's the
hurt.
origin of moon shoes.
Yeah, exactly. I would love that. Well, anyways, we have now reached the 45-minute mark, so we're probably going to cut it there. But for those of you watching or those of you that watch this later, thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys. This was episode 7. I am not going to be available next weekend, so we probably won't be streaming next weekend. But we'll get back to it right after that. So make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, follow us. We are on Facebook and Instagram. We don't really post on Facebook, but we are on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, obviously. So make sure
about the Patreon too. You put the Patreon on there.
Oh yeah, we do have a Patreon.
Support
We're kind of
podcast.
we're still building that out. So if you guys do want to support us, we'd really appreciate it. Obviously, none of us are doing this full time, so the more support we can get, the better, and the more time and effort and we can put into this. So any support you guys have, whether it's just subscribing or sharing the video, we appreciate it. And make sure to hit the notification bell so when we go live in a couple of weeks, you will be notified of that. So, okay, awesome. Anything else you guys want to say before we check out?
Nope.
Tori?
No.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
See ya in a couple weeks.
What?